Hi there, gang. Welcome to OSF TV. I'm Sean with OurStressFreeWedding.com, joined, of course, by my good friend Andrew. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. So it's been a couple weeks since our last show. We had an amazing show with Kayla Schofield. Kayla Schofield Photography. Mm-hmm. Wow. Suddenly, we've been talking for how long, and instantly, as soon as we start recording, I forget to talk.
Right? It's like when I showed up here, it's like, why am I coughing so much, you know? That's showbiz.
And I want to show for the record, I do not have my little special effects box. I think
thank God.
After your reaction from the last show, I thought...
I think everybody's reaction after that.
For the record, my wife was very proud of them.
Okay.
I thought they was... And they are... No, they're put away. Never mind. I got nothing.
Maybe next time.
So, hey, cool news. We are about 27 days away from, well, by the time of this broadcast, 26 days away from March 26th. And March 26th, we have a wedding show coming up at the Elks Lodge in Waterloo from noon to 3. It is free to the public. It is free to brides, grooms, anyone that wants to come in and take a look at stuff. We're going to have some amazing vendors there. We're going to do this show a little bit more intimate. You know, we did that last show at the Waterloo Convention Center. That was on a much bigger scale. This one, we're going to take it down a little bit and just make it more of an opportunity to really let our stress-free vendors have conversations with guests as they come through. I think it's going to be a really great show. So again, write this down. March 26th, you'll see, post for it on Facebook. You'll see it on social media. You'll start hearing ads for it here pretty soon at the Waterloo Elks Club. It's going to be a great show. And one of the guests that is going to be at that show just happened to be guest with us today. And that is the amazing people at JTR Practical Solutions. We've got Tomma and John with us right now. Let's bring them in. Hey guys, how we doing?
Welcome.
How you doing?
We are so glad to have you on board. So they were originally going to be in-house with us. I was going to say in studio, but it's my office. So I know when you watch it on the screen, you're like, well, it's a studio. No, it's my office. But they were originally going to be here with us, and then Thomas sent me a message like, hey, John's not feeling that great. Can we do it over Zoom? And I remember I messaged Andrew. I'm like, oh, thank God they're not coming in. Because they are videographers and they use the most amazing equipment. And we're going to get into their equipment and their tech. And anybody in the photography or videography field that has come in to talk with us in person, they're mean.
They judge us. They judge our video cameras, our lighting.
Yeah, you would think they were professionals or something. First show we had with Nicole.
Yeah.
Nicole Dean Photography gave us all kinds of crap about our lighting. She didn't care as much about the cameras. But then we had Jake from Marathon Videography, and he had some comments on our $112 Amazon cameras that we use.
Hurts a little bit.
It cut a little deep, I know. And then if you look in the background with Tomma and John, look at they've got this beautiful camera that they use, and they use all wireless transmitting systems that we're going to get into all the tech stuff because I don't usually like diving into tech, but man, these guys have the most fun tech to play with.
Definitely.
So we're going to talk about this. Welcome to the show, guys. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for taking the time to join us. John, are you feeling better?
I do feel a little bit better. I wish I'd have felt better because maybe I'd have jumped on that bandwagon of talking about your equipment too. But we'll let it go at that. And our movie camera number one will sit back here and observe.
Right. So he's regretting not being able to come up here and pick on us.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what I'm getting from this?
Next time.
Possibly.
Thanks for watching, folks. It has been a great show. So let's dive in here. I want to talk about you. We've had the pleasure of working with you on a couple different occasions, and you were at the last show with us at the Waterloo Convention Center. They live streamed the show, which is so cool. This is a service that JTR offers to their clients as an option, which I think is an amazing option. We're going to get into some of the technology with that as well. But let's dial it back a little bit. Let's talk about the history. How did you get into doing all of this? How did you get started in the world of videography?
Well, I got into videography in the late 80s. My mother had bought a fairly decent video camera and was taking it with her on her many trips to Europe. And whenever she was home, I was able to borrow it, and I went out and actually started videoing some drag racing, some other livestock shows and things like that, and really got into it. And, you know, that was back when you had this little cartridge for video, and that were not cheap. I think she paid probably $600-700 for this camera.
Sure.
Back in the day, but that was a great camera. I wish we still had some of that.
Was
video
that like
from
one
there.
of the beta, like a Betamax style?
It was
Or
not
it
beta.
was it super VHS? I know there was a couple different formats.
It was super something, and it was that little mini, almost the size of a cassette recording, but it was fairly thick, about the size of a box of stick matches.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably had 100 of those things, and they were not cheap.
Mm-hmm. I remember those.
And I wish we still had them. When she moved in the early 2000s, that box somehow or another disappeared, which is unfortunate.
Just kind of off topic for a minute, but my mom right now is going through all of our family videos, going back to like the old, even the 9mm, like the silent stuff, and sending them off to, what is that, Legacy Box, one of those services,
right. Something like that.
So like all of our old VHS, and we went through the same thing. We had the great big VHS camera that you look like a news guy because it was up on your shoulder, and then we had the smaller, like the Betamax one, which was the smaller kind of cassette style, like what John's talking about. And we would watch, back in the day, you'd plug in, your audio, the red and the white and the yellow, your audio, and then your video cables, plug them into your TV, turn them on channel 3, so you could watch it on channel 3. But she's been sending these in for all of us kids to download digitally so we can watch them. And there's so many of them, thinking of like back to the 80s. So here's John, doing something productive with mom's camera, right? Going to races and recording cool stuff like that. I remember, like, for me back in the 80s, I was making like little stop action movies with like my brother's little G.I. Joe things and, little dorky stuff like that. I don't know if that survived the Legacy Box cut or not, but I made some fantastic. I was the Spielberg of the late 80s. So
That's awesome.
Do you have as you kind of got into that and you kind of figured out, you got a good eye for this stuff. Did you ever have any kind of formal education for this, or is this just something that you've kind of grown into?
No, nothing formal. It was, like everything else, trial and error. That video didn't work. Got to learn how to keep the camera steady. Don't spin around 180 degrees with a camera that back in the day was probably less than a megapixel of data.
Right.
So it was trial and error, and having 40 years of experience playing with different type of cameras, you can learn a lot from multiple errors.
Absolutely. And that's one of the best ways to learn. I mean, you can absolutely go to school for it. I'm not going to downplay anything with that, but I mean, it's the same thing with me. I mean, I started 34 years ago and doing what I do, and there was never any formal education. It was, maybe learn how to do this better.
It's like when we started this whole thing, you kind of had to, you personally had to learn how to do Adobe Premiere.
Yeah.
You learn what you need to do to get by, and then you just kind of keep picking things up, and it's just one of those things.
And if it's something that you're passionate about, you get better and better at it. So, John, at what point did you kind of realize, hey, I'm kind of good at this. This is something that I can maybe monetize, maybe actually make a living at?
Well, and a lot of that came too in the late 2000s when I was working for a local jurisdictional government. We did a lot of videography just to track what was happening and all that. And I was using my own camera at that point. And some of that data got kept in the files. So, in 2009, Tomma and I kind of started doing some stuff on the side. And as time went on, we decided to make this can we make money at this? Well, I hope so. Let's try it. And so we became JTR Practical Solutions in 2019. And people have asked, what's the JTR? John and Tomma Briggs.
Yeah, well, I just put that together the other day. That's how smart I am. I'm like, how do they come up with JTR? As I'm reading like an email from John or John and Tom, I'm like, oh.
Well, we have
Oh,
a friend, a funny note here. We have a friend of ours, good friend of ours that lives in Kansas, because our original emblem, which I'm wearing on my shirt, says JTR. The
right.
problem is the way he reads it is JRT.
Oh,
And so you'll notice in our new banner, we kind of transitioned uh, because of this one friend of ours, which we find it funny. It is what it is. You know, everybody looks at a logo a little different. But
right.
no, in 2019, we became officially JTR Practical Solutions,
Awesome.
and that's doing some video for commercials for small businesses to run on Facebook, and it morphed from there.
Awesome. I love it. So, I mean, this has really been a passion for, well, you go back to the 80s. I mean, my gosh, you're talking 40,
Yeah,
40 years worth of experience there, which is huge. So, 2019, you launch it into more of a formal business. And like you had mentioned, kind of more commercial side from what it sounds like. How
correct.
did you evolve into then the wedding side of the equation?
Well, a lot of it had, as we all know, right after fall of 2019, the pandemic came along, spring of 2020.
I'd heard rumors.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure you did. A lot of the small businesses, restaurants and small businesses, just they didn't have the income anymore to have someone like us who does production, commercials, and all that. That funding dried up.
Hmm.
I mean, almost immediately. And we decided to, after a few other things, that weddings were still going to happen. We like telling a story. We like doing things in cinematic fashion, and so that's where that all started.
Sure. And I love that you brought up telling a story. I think we were talking earlier about our friend Jake from Marathon Videography. And we have met, like you guys and Jake and Josh from Voight Media. We've met some really extraordinary videographers, which I think you are woefully underrepresented in the state of Iowa. I think there's a lot of people out there that, oh, I'm a videographer, because they've got their iPhone 12 and literally,
Yeah.
we were at a wedding last year, one of the ones that we DJ'd for with Ultra Entertainment, and their videographer, and I know he was the videographer because he had a shirt, like Steve's Videography, and it was literally Steve running around with his iPhone.
Oh no.
Honestly, that was it. But he had a shirt, so it made it official. So I think videographers are terribly.
Well,
No,
we got
stop
shirts.
it. Yeah, you also have a camera worth more than my car behind you. But one of the things that you brought up, and this has been brought up by Josh, and by Jake, by the real professionals, is that videographers tell the story. And this is the biggest difference between like a videographer and a photographer, is that a really good photographer captures the moment. They freeze
Right.
that moment in time, and the couple can go back and they can look at that moment and enjoy that moment and relive that moment. A videographer tells the story of not just that moment, but the entire arc of the experience. And one of the really neat things with weddings, and especially with you guys using multiple cameras, is that you're able to capture that story to such a degree that the couple watching it, I'm guessing, like when they watch it for the first time, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that happened, or oh my gosh, I didn't even know
Right.
that happened, because there's so many things that are going on at a wedding reception that the couple's not going to see because they're in the middle of all the chaos, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, and our whole approach going into it was you can't just walk around, as you mentioned, with an iPhone.
Oh,
Well,
you can. Steve did it.
You
He had
can.
a shirt. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good for Steve, and I hope the video turned out well. But
Sure did.
our belief is that there are times where, yeah, you have the camera on the couple in the ceremony, they're in the moment, you got all that. You might have another camera in the back of the house shooting forward, but with us having a gimbal camera on top of that, I can get crowd reactions. And I will tell you, you get mom and dad's reaction, whether it's bridegroom side or whatever, and sisters and other relatives, you get the reactions. That's priceless. You don't see that all the time. And, we've been to, like you, we've been to weddings as a guest, And I've always questioned, why is there only 1 or 2 cameras randomly recording? Randomly.
Right.
Our cameras, like you said, we've got some high dollar cameras, but we also have recording equipment. I can record and keep that camera running for 7 hours without it shutting off.
Right.
I can record the whole entire day, that one camera. You never know what you'll see until you actually come back and watch the video.
Right.
But there is so much stuff you can capture, and that's why we use a minimum of 3 cameras, and we've used as many as 6.
Awesome. And I want to get into that in more detail here, Karen, on the second half of the show, because I really want to get into the technology, because I know compared to even other videographers that we work with, I think you guys take the tech level to a whole nother level, which I think is amazing. I'm a tech nerd myself. I'm right there with you, so I love that.
I just like spending money.
Really? Have you met my wife? I think that sounds. Kidding, dear. I'm kidding.
We'll edit that in
I'm the
post.
frugal one.
You're the frugal one.
We've gotten a lot of points off the credit card through B&H Photo.
Right.
So.
I keep him in check.
Yeah, see, no, my wife is just as bad as I'm going to put myself right there too, because I'm the one that's like, hey, this looks really cool. And she's like, well, get it then. I'm like, I need someone that really says no, Sean. And so we put that to the test. So yesterday, my wife told me the no, Sean rule. We were at, we were getting a new truck for my son. He was renewing the lease on his truck. And on the showroom floor is this beautiful Corvette. Oh, convertible. It's the new 2023 or 4. It looks like it should fly.
Feel the wind in your hair.
I don't care. I would wear a wig. So I know the sales guy, and I've got a collector's edition 50th anniversary Camaro that I absolutely love. And the sales guy at the dealership's like, if you traded in your Camaro for this, your car payments would go down in half from, the list price for this Corvette. And I'm like, that's a great idea. So I text my wife. I'm like, ooh, you should look at this Corvette. And literally, I think as she was reading it, I got that no back so fast. I don't think she had time to read the whole text because it was no. And I text her back quick. I'm like, as in, no way, that sounds amazing. And I got just another no. I'm like, oh. The one time we're going to be responsible, really? So, no, I do not have that pretty car. It's coming. So, all right, let's focus. You get into weddings. COVID kind of brings you into that. You've got 40 years of experience leading up to it, realizing kind of that, in the wedding world that especially videographers. So you guys kind of saw that void. You'd gone to weddings before. You'd seen the guy with the iPhones or, some little Super 8 camera or something from Walmart like we have, something high tech like that. And you realize, hey, wow, we've got the knowledge, we've got the equipment, we've got the hardware, we've got all of this. So let's talk about, kind of the next most important thing above all of the equipment. You can have the coolest equipment in the world, but how you treat your couples is the biggest part of the entire equation. So let's talk a little bit about your meetings with couples as they're planning their big day. How do you go about talking with them? What do you do to help make their day as stress-free as possible?
Well, and have you seen on our website, and with us being a part of our stress-free family, we do want it to be stress-free. Couples have enough to worry about, and our goal is to make it so the day of the wedding, they can concentrate on them and be themselves and not worry about us. We'll deal with what we need to deal with. If things happen, we'll deal with it. Meeting with couples, as usual, usually starts out with a connection to the website or an email. Then we move to a phone call. We try to tell them as much as possible, this will be stress-free from our part. You tell us what your expectations are and what your needs are, what you're looking for, and we're going to produce a cinematic video that tells their love story. averaged probably 13 hours on the wedding day,
Oh, I'm
being
sure.
there for getting ready. We've also, moved into having them do their notes to each other. We record it, and then we don't actually show that video. We overlay that audio onto part of our highlight film, to where they're talking to each other. But making them feel comfortable with just us as a couple, and that we're the owners. We are the ones you're going to see there. We're not going to send this out to somebody else. We are the primary. We work together well most of the time. When I get the buzz in my ear, because we have headsets so we can talk to each other, and
Right.
she'll say, move the camera and go over there and stop moving.
Right.
I have told him that.
She has numerous times.
Oh, no,
but
I've seen your setup. So she's clearly she's the director. So your job,
Yes.
as a smart guy, is just to say yes, dear, and just move on to the, move where you're going. Right?
Well, lots of times he's
There- yeah,
got the
yes, sir.
gimbal and he'll start moving too fast, or he'll pan it too fast, and I'm looking at the screen, so I know what it looks like.
yeah.
And I'll tell him, you need to slow down because you don't think about it when you're the one out filming.
Right.
And then she gets a yada 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 in the ear.
Yes,
so-
yes, I do.
When
Sorry.
when you make that promise to the couple, you tell them, hey, we're going to take that stress off your shoulders. Your goal is, our goal for you is for you to just show up and enjoy your day.
Yep.
We got the rest. And I've said that to countless brides over a lot of years, and I usually get the same reaction, at least in the initial part of it, is sure, because the bride is worrying about every little thing in the world. So I'm curious, just to kind of fast forward, I can say that with videographers, to fast forward to the end, when they watch the video, when everything's all said and done, have they ever said oh my gosh, you were right, I didn't have to worry about a thing? I mean, do you get that reaction from your clients?
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
We've been very fortunate to work with couples that are understanding and know that they're going to see us while we're filming. It is what it is. You're
Right.
going to see a camera. You're going to see me moving around. Don't worry about it. I will be out of the way when I need to be.
Right.
It's like I try to stay out of the way of the photographer and vice versa.
Right.
But the response we get, luckily, has been that, oh my gosh, that's awesome. You captured what we really wanted. And like you mentioned earlier, they're saying they saw something they didn't even know happened. And we didn't have anything to worry about. And we'll also get a thank you saying, hey, thanks for helping out our DJ or helping out my mom. Mom was upset. We give her a hug, before. We try to be more than just a videographer. We try to be part of the family during it. And, it's just something, like we've said, it's something we're passionate about. And we really like the fact that I would say all of the couples we've worked with have enjoyed working with us. We've had a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So I get to use another term. Let's rewind back a little bit now. See this? Do you see where I'm
I
going?
think kids these days.
Instant replay.
I didn't even write that down. That's what kids these days.
It's called-
Kids these days might not even know what rewind.
Kids get rewind and fast forward.
It's instant replay.
Well, they know what
Instant
it means.
replay.
They know it means.
Let's
go
jump back 10 seconds. 10 seconds. I don't know. It's on.
But to actually rewind,
Oh.
it's like saying, "Hey,
No.
hang up the phone."
It's instant replay.
Listen up, millennial.
And,
right?
and our system actually allows us to do instant replay.
So we kind of got the end of the story with that, their reaction to it. Let's talk about it in the beginning parts. When you're first meeting with that couple and you're first kind of establishing that relationship with them, during the planning process, how is their input with you? How many times do you have, okay, we're going to meet 4 times before your wedding, or is it pretty much, hey, when you need us, call, when you need us, text, email, whatever it is? How is your interactions with the couples during the planning process?
Well, what we have established, we actually have 2 documents that we send out in the initial steps. One is just the basics, bridegroom name, what date, venue where it's at, and those basic items is what we ask for. And then we send them one with more detail as we're progressing forward with planning. We don't necessarily, once we come to an understanding of what their expectations are, our quote actually has all that listed in it. And then if they say, we're great, everything looks good, we just tell them if something changes, you want to change something, either call us or email us, and we'll do what we got to do.
Sure. Rule number one: what the couple wants, the couple gets.
It's their wedding.
Right.
They're spending a lot of money, and we want to do what they want done. And biggest thing is meet their details of what they want. And key word for us is their expectations.
Right.
What are you expecting out of us as a final product?
Right.
What do you want from us?
So do you go
And that's
over
our goal.
what shots they want to capture? Like, do you have kind of a must get list, and then just kind of your general? I know I'm going to get these two, but do they have a specific must get kind of moments?
Yeah,
Yes.
like the rings, the gown before she puts it on, maybe that stuff. Some shots of the venue. If there's a reveal. Tomma works with them, with the couples for all of those pieces. And then the rest of it is whatever we're filming throughout it. But we take their specific items. In most cases, you will get, picture of the rings either on a placemat or something. And if that's what, they look for, then it's part of what we're going to do.
Sure.
But we also have the normals that we're going to get anyway.
Right.
The reveal and things like that, whether it's before, or the ceremony is the reveal. Because we've seen it both ways where they don't see each other before. And some of them, they've done all the photography and everything is done before the ceremony. So all that's over with. And those actually are where the great moments come in.
Sure.
That dramatic, cinematic, we can build that in.
Love it.
But working with them, if they want to change something, we don't require that they meet multiple times. We always try to go check out the venue so we know layouts, I can work it out in advance. Yeah, Tomma directs the filming and all that, but I'm the one that's saying, here's where the camera placement's going to be, how we're going to set up our equipment, how we need to be laid out on the day of. But not necessarily do we actually need to meet them face to face until either the day before at the rehearsal, if that's what if we're doing it, or the morning of.
Unless they want to meet.
Unless they request it.
We pretty much leave it up to the couple. What do you want?
Yep.
I love it.
That's our main goal, and we want to bring out all the emotion and just the tender moments, if you want to.
Yep.
Of the day.
Well, we had you've seen the video of the wedding we did where I filmed the bride coming in on a horse, and I filmed it with our drone.
Yes.
We actually met. They hired us 16 days before the wedding due to an issue they had with their original videographer. So we had 16 days to plan this out. We met with them 1 week before, went over all the cues of what we needed to do, test flew the drone over the horse. This was out in the field, so we were doing a serious remote with our equipment, and then had to move the equipment 120 yards back to their reception area, all within 45 minutes. And you've seen our equipment.
Yeah.
So we actually had to bring in some good friends of ours to help out. But no, we were at their property the week before, that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday. We were there 5 days total, I'd say probably 50, 60 hours.
Sure.
Just for planning.
But that also
which is so
gave us
important because it's their biggest day. I mean, that's
Exactly.
absolutely awesome. I love it. So we're going to dive deeper into all this. We're going to get into kind of your philosophy and stuff. We're going to get into the tech side of stuff. But first, we have a very important part of the show. This is crucial. I don't know if you're a hardcore fan or maybe just a part-time. They're clearly hardcore fans. I mean, are there any part-time fans of OSF TV? I mean,
Never.
We are clearly
Fairweather
building.
fans, no.
Oh yeah, massive. I mean, besides family that has to watch. But we're about the halfway point of the show, and the halfway point of the show is a part of the show. We really need to create a new banner for this. I think we need to create a bigger intro because I've got this, ladies and gentlemen, the Andrew moment.
Oh boy. Hey everyone, thanks for watching our stress-free TV. Make sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you can be notified for all the great content that we produce. Great show today so far. What, the halfway point already?
I know, time flies. Is that it? Good job.
Thank you.
We're so happy. We are so excited.
So condescending.
I may have lied a little bit about not having the remote, the crowd thinks you're funny. This isn't condescending. I was didn't you like my little drum build up?
That, yes. The claps, no.
You don't like the claps? So I can do this. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, all right. That's
Andrew moment.
That's acceptable.
Oh, we're keeping that.
Oh, boy.
We're totally keeping that. That's never going to go away. My phone keeps making noise today. I apologize. Turn that all the way off. So, hey, back to the show. Thank you so much, Andrew. Appreciate that. That was wonderful. I'm putting the toys away now. See, I'm done. I'm an adult. Back to our good friends at JTR Practical Solutions. We're talking to John and Tomma. They are videographers. And this is really cool. This is from your website, and I love this. This stood out to me, and I'm quoting from the website. It's our philosophy is to capture the natural environment in real moments and have you be you. We want to capture those special interactions you will have with family, friends, and the toast that gets everyone laughing. The first dance, cutting the cake, and all those moments that you will cherish for a lifetime is what we want to capture for you. I think that's awesome. It's just a very pretty summary of kind of what your goal is for the couple on their big day, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I love that. So I want to get into a little bit about what sets you apart from other videographers. You know, we've mentioned, we work with a lot of great pros that are out there. What's something that sets you guys apart? And I've got kind of a list in my mind that I know that sets you apart that I think is amazing, and we'll get into those. But I have a feeling you're going to capture those for me anyway. So, what sets you apart from other videographers?
Well, we do, like you said, we offer live streaming. We have different things we do with shooting style, how many cameras and all that, and our editing. But to get into specifics, let's talk a little bit about our shooting style, which is more cinematic and dramatic. We're trying to tell a love story. You cannot just randomly shoot some video, piece it together, and tell a story. I need to set the stage, the beginning, the middle, and the end, and have that story flow. In order to do that, we film using multiple cameras, as we've already discussed. We use a minimum of 3. Larger weddings and live streaming, we may use up to 6 cameras. To be able to get all these pieces that allow us in editing to take something that we may not have seen, because we have a couple of remote cameras we use that are filming and recording that we may not actually see the footage until we get back to our office and go through it and go, wow, that's a great piece there. We need to add that in. With all that, we've talked about drones, and if the weather permits and we can legally fly that day, we'll try to grab some aerial video around the venue to just highlight the venue. Most venues have something unique to offer from an aerial footage.
Right.
And we'll grab what we can, with that, and that gives us more to edit in. Like we talked about earlier, we actually had 2 weeks to plan to film over a horse And I will say that video turned out very well, considering that was first take as it was going, and landed a drone and came back and grabbed a gimbal camera, ran around the side of the barn and went down the aisle with her. But the other thing is what sets us apart too is definitely our streaming service.
Yeah, see, that's what I wanted you guys to get into.
I know.
Let's
I
talk
wanted to
about
hold
that.
you. I wanted to hold you off just a little bit to let it build
So I'm
up.
thinking, oh, I want to tell you. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. We offer live streaming services to couples. It's geared towards family and friends who can't make it.
Yeah.
You have, a grandma that just isn't quite healthy enough to travel, or you have a family member in the military that's, deployed. Our live streams, where we're unique is we're not using an iPhone 10, 12, or whatever the newest model is and streaming it to Facebook.
Right.
We're using our cameras, which, as you said, are wirelessly linked to our system. We are able to stream in 1080p HD widescreen. Same thing you watch. If you're watching Amazon.
Yeah, it's
Prime
broadcast quality is what you're sending out.
It is broadcast quality.
Yeah.
We can do it privately to where, and that's what you got when we did our stress-free wedding show. You had a link. I didn't have a password on yours, but you were the only one that could see it because this was us testing.
Right.
And we live stream out of that building. But the main thing,
for the record, I looked fabulous. I don't know if a lot of people really got that, like during that stream. Because since I was the only one that could see it, I looked fabulous.
I heard the camera adds 10 pounds, but
well, there's too many cameras on me. We need to cut down cameras.
so that's why I look 50 pounds.
Go back to what you were saying, John. Go back to what you were saying.
The cheaper the camera, the worse you look. Sorry.
Get better camera, Sean.
I'm working on it. Look at that beautiful one they've got back there. So, with the live stream, this is something else that I think is super cool that you guys do. Is they literally set up like a portable studio. Like Tomma will sit back and she'll have all of these screens set up. You think I got a lot of screens on my desk. They set up all of these screens where she can get feeds from all of the different cameras, and then you're able to kind of jump in between and to take and control. And then, like you said, you've got a number of them that are remotely operated, so not only can you get the image coming in, but you can adjust them from your little control center. Yes?
Yes.
Correct. Two of the cameras are PTZ's pan, tilt, zoom that she could run with a joystick and turn them, zoom them, and do whatever. We've now, since that show, added zooms to our movie cameras, like the one behind us, that are usually set. Once we set them, that's where they are. She can now zoom those cameras remotely, wirelessly, and we can do all that. She has what they call a TV studio switcher. We have a Blackmagic Design out of California. They have a switcher that we run on software. In fact, I write code for it, so she now doesn't have to hit a bunch of buttons to switch. She can do a one-button switch to the camera. If she's watching the screen, likes what's in the preview, she can hit a button, bam, it automatically goes to it.
So you're literally running what would be, in essence, almost like a 6-person crew with the two of you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably more people would be involved, because we're also running all our audio is synced with the video. And, at the show that we are stress-free, you had a mic on. We had one plugged into your guys' mixing board.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the audio. We're running a mixing board. We have you've seen our mixing board. It's basically the same of what you guys use for DJ show. And we can do all that. So Tomma, she's more than a director up there. She's producer, video. She runs a lot of it up there.
Right.
Now for live,
I'm
her
multi-task.
workload, she's in charge. If we're live, her workload doubles.
Right.
Because she has to monitor the feed, which, keep in mind, this, and to get a little techie on you here, the system we have, our transmitter encoder that encodes and takes the video and the audio is embedded into it. It's a little over $4,000 for this little bitty thing that's no bigger than a half a loaf of bread.
Mm-hmm.
It takes that, and it's 4 signals. It's 4 cell signals, not audio or not voice or text. It's digital only. We're not running through a cell phone, but it's cell nodes. We have 2 Netgear modems that are transmitting. One's wired, one's wireless, and then 2 nodes that are bolted onto the system. It takes that data, encodes it, sends it to a server, and we're using one in Ohio, puts it all back together. We probably have less than 20 milliseconds of delay.
That's
when it
amazing.
comes. Yeah.
And that's for your stream services. So you've got kind of the redundancy built in for backup and security, and then the speed on it. That's incredible for transmission for that. And you can do that, like if you're at a family farm, a private property, state park, something like that. Are you still able to stream like that because of the transmission that you guys have for the wireless system? Like, as long as you've got like some kind of signal, you can kind of build from there. How does all that work?
Well, our cameras will always talk to our system because we have our own internal proprietary network that I designed, put together, that all our cameras come into it. We can get up to about 1,100 feet away. Our camera that's back here can be about 1,100 feet away from our system, and it'll still have a great video. Our remote ones, maybe 200 yards, less than 200 yards. But as long as all that comes into our system, getting it out still depends on a cell signal.
Okay.
2 of our units run off of AT&T and 2 run off T-Mobile. We have their SIM cards, but we do not pay through their network. We are on a third-party SIM card that we pay. And, people have asked, why is it so expensive? That's because I'm paying a lot of money per hour.
Right.
For all these cell signals to go out. Keep in mind, the stream 1080p HD takes a minimum of just over 5 megabytes a second. That doesn't seem like a lot when you test your internet at home and you have this high speed that you're downloading 900 and uploading at 600.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have to be at least a minimum of 5. Our system's set up to be 8. So that way we have buffer. If we can't get a cell signal, and there are places in Iowa we can't get a signal. We've had that happen because of maybe a building.
Sure.
We had one down south near Burlington that where we were filming was at 2.5 miles at the end of the runway from the airport. There wasn't a cell tower within 8 miles. So our signal was very limited, and it really put a damper on what we were trying to do. But you have to have a cell signal, so you have to have a cell tower at least within 6 or 7 miles line of sight.
See, and what you guys are offering is so much more. I mean, aside from so that's a very rare occasion. You're right by an airport.
Correct.
That doesn't happen as often. But for the
No, it
most
doesn't.
part, what you're offering to clients is extraordinary. And like you had mentioned that it's expensive for you to do, but one of the things that and John, you and I have had this conversation before, as pricing goes, JTR as a business, you guys comparatively are probably the most reasonably priced videographers that I know. Especially if you compare the quality of your work compared to your price. And in my humble opinion, you are undercharging by miles because you guys produce really great stuff, and the quality of service you have, the multiple remote cameras, the central nerve center that Tom is running on, and then on top of that, we've got you on the gimbal and you on the drone, and all of this feeding into a central area, and all of this being streamed out as options. You offer so much to couples at such an incredibly reasonably price. I
Right.
know a lot of couples kind of shy away from videographers because they get upwards of $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for
Yeah.
videography, and you guys are well within below that that top margin up there.
Yeah.
And like you had told me, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said mainly you have your pricing because you love what you do and you want to be able to offer this to couples.
Yeah, we
want them to
We-
be able to afford.
yeah, we want to make it affordable for quality.
Mhm.
You know, as you know, am semi-retired, and so this basically is us having fun at something we really love to do. We're able to help couples out. I don't need to budget some, sure, gonna hurt my feelings if somebody pays me $5,000. No.
So if they're willing to pay you more, you're not going to turn them away.
If that's what they want to do
Sure.
as a tip, absolutely.
I think that is incredibly generous of you to allow them to pay you more. I think that's
absolutely. Well, I was trying to follow you as an example, So, but no, we like making the couple's day. It's kind of like going back to the one that we did with the drone and a horse. They came into it, like I said, just a couple weeks before. That project itself, probably based on what we had to do to move equipment, setting up in 2 different locations and all the logistics, along with bringing extra help in, was probably close to about, if we'd have put everything in it that we could add that we have on our books, would have been about $3,500.
Sure.
They were already on the hook with a previous videographer and lost some money. And I felt bad, and not just that, but the excitement about, I get to film with my drone, you riding in on a horse. I'm in.
I get to play with more toys. Okay.
Yeah, I get to use my drone finally for this, and so we worked a deal with them, and it worked out for them. It worked out for us. They were happy. Our turnaround for editing is about 14 days.
That was my next question. When we talk about editing, that's amazing by itself. About a 2-week turnaround.
Yep. Well, and part of it too is, as you know, we aren't out every weekend filming weddings.
Right.
We go quality over quantity.
Right.
Working with couples, and making things happen.
You guys have the luxury of kind of working at your discretion.
That is exactly right. And that's what they call partial retirement.
Partial retirement. There you go.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
But no, we, on the editing side, we spend a lot of time editing. I've spent 16-hour days editing just the first half of a ceremony.
Sure.
Because I didn't like how it laid out and flowed, which we'll probably get into more a little bit too. I'm sure you'll ask me about working with the DJ.
So let's talk about working with the DJ, John. What's that experience like when you're working with them?
They're a bunch of arrogant people, and really, just
know-it-alls.
Well, and
so
to be
true.
honest,
We do know it all, though.
When you're as great as we are, it's hard to be humble.
Yeah.
What's that old song? Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way.
Well, keep in mind, and I think you knew this, I DJ'd back in the late 90s, had equipment and did all that. So I know that arrogance, and you never miscue and you never put the wrong song up, and the audio sounds perfect.
Every time.
Every time. Great.
And we rarely screw up on a microphone.
Oh, yeah.
We talk good.
Yeah.
We talk good.
Yeah. Well, this next
But
song.
how important, but you bring up a good point. How important is it to work with the other vendors that are there? Because I know, like in your case, working with the DJ and the photographer would be kind of 2 of the big tie-ins. And then I want to talk a little bit more about the ceremony side of stuff too. But first, let's talk about just your interaction with the other professionals that are on site there.
Well, I would say the number one thing when the day first begins is working with the photographer to say, here's where I'm going to be. Here's what I'm doing here. Here's where my cameras are. Please don't stand in front of them or do your best. Granted, we're going to be at each other's shots. It just happens. But as long as we can edit it to where we can switch a camera through editing, or Tomma can do it on the fly, then we're okay. But to me, the most important vendor is the DJ. Here's the thing. Video is only part of the equation. if the audio is horrible, choppy, broken up, and all that, I'm going to create a crap film, and it's not even going to get honorable mention on any award show. So the DJ, we like being plugged in, like we did at our Stress Free. We plugged in, that way I could get the live feed.
Right.
And I didn't have to worry about, see, to me, I don't like weddings that have been videoed and you're running off the ambient of the camera.
Right.
We've got Sennheiser microphones on our cameras that are high dollar microphones. But here's the thing, ambient sound coming through your PA system is not stereo for one thing, and it's actually not really mono. It's kind of hollow.
It
Right.
sounds canned.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
So we like to, what we do is one of our cameras we have, we actually will plug it in to your board, or if we have the whole entire system there, we'll wire you through our mixing board or through a system and record it. So I have backup, plus it's being used. But that isn't all of it, because what if you're not running the microphones? I prefer to use my own Sennheiser microphones for the efficient and the couple, because they don't have any latency. They don't break up. I am not a fan of Bluetooth microphones.
Right. Oh God. Right.
Because I will tell you this, our system, we found at one of the weddings we did, the DJ actually had Bluetooth microphones, and every time they'd walk around us to go the other side, he'd go tap, 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 tap,
Oh, I'm
because
sure.
our system, I have 5 cameras coming through on the wireless. Well, it's 5G. So I got 5 5G signals there, plus our proprietary network, all blasting all this stuff. And Bluetooth doesn't like that.
Right.
But I prefer to use our own microphones. And most DJs have been okay with that just for the ceremony. And then after that, we unplug our stuff. You go back to using yours.
Right.
Plugged into your system, because I know what they're going to sound like. And then we record it, and then we move forward from there. But if you have quality microphones and it sounds good in my headsets, I don't care.
Right. No, that's great.
We also have a backup, just because things happen. DJ equipment's not perfect either.
Right.
Electronics are electronics. We actually use an H1 recorder, stereo recorder, that has about 4 hours of space on it that I actually clamp to the microphone stand. It's independent. I hit record as they're starting to bring the wedding party in.
So you've got 2 different audio sources, just in case one goes south. You've got 2 quality backups that you'd be able to.
Yes.
You could sync up the second one if you needed it, just in case the primary one
And
dropped
that
on it.
just recently happened.
Sure.
We had an issue, and it was our backup to the backup is where all the audio came from. I had to go in, and we always have one of our cameras sitting far enough away from the PA system that it's easy for me to eliminate that audio. When I can lower it down, still get crowd reactions. You're going to get the applause when you may now kiss your, bride and all that. I want that, but I don't want your audio.
Right.
So I have a camera far enough away with the microphone not facing it. So that way, when I edit, I can go in and actually lower that piece, but still get the crowd noise.
Oh, okay. So you're pulling in, like when you edit, then you're pulling in from all those different audio sources, kind of whatever one you feel
Yes.
fits best as the mix. So and that was one of the other questions that I had. Let's just say for the ceremony, for example, how many cameras do you use for the ceremony, and are all of them recording simultaneously, or is it recording into one feed, or is it each one records into a separate channel, then you can edit kind of as you like? How does that kind of play out?
Well, in the 3 basic package, we have the one package that is strictly the ceremony. We would only use 3 cameras at it, just because we wouldn't have our entire system with us. We would be recording straight to the cameras to edit later.
Okay.
Our VIP light, that we call it, doesn't actually use the big system either, but it adds more cameras and more recording. We get the reception too, because the other one is strictly just a ceremony.
And each camera is recording individually, correct?
Whether we are recording just to the camera or to our system, we have 6 recorders, Blackmagic Design HyperDecks, that are recording individually. So let's say Thomas switches to camera 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are still recording their picture onto that drive. We have 256 gigabyte cards in there, which is about 7 hours. About half filled up in 7 hours. So all that data is there. So if I'm running the gimbal camera, which in our case is number 5, and she's got number 1 in preview, but number 2 captures something really good, and she doesn't have time to go to it, we can always go back, take that data, and add it in.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're always recording, and that kind of goes along with, like we were saying about having the different data, how much data, that goes back to the live stream.
We really should just have them come up here and show us how to use our equipment better, because we're recording it to just one channel and we're done. Yay, we did it. So we're so proud of ourselves. That is awesome. I know I'm a tech nerd too. So John, you and I could have a conversation that we could do a whole show just based on the toys. Because to me, they're just fun toys. This I love this stuff, but
not cheap either. We have expensive taste.
Oh, I know. I keep trying to win the Powerball, but everybody else keeps playing, and they haven't picked my numbers yet, which is very disappointing.
So he is one of the people playing that's keeping us from winning.
See, I'm not the only one.
Right.
That's it.
And no, for the record, I only buy Powerball when it reaches 200 million and up, because I feel if it was anything less than 200 million, I would just burn through it too quickly. I want to actually be able to show up and buy Jessup.
Wow.
Just cuz.
All right.
Jessup. Just rename every street Sean.
On the corner of Sean and Sean.
Sean Avenue, Sean Lane, Sean Boulevard, over on First and Sean. First Sean and Sean.
Okay,
we good. Back anyway.
Wow.
This is the stuff that goes through my mind. What should someone expect from their videographer? Just overall, big picture. What should a bride expect from their videographer?
Well, I think really the main thing is don't be afraid to ask questions. That's we always tell the couples we talk to, please ask us anything that you want to know. We'll try to get you the correct answer and make life as stress-free as possible. But the biggest thing that a couple should look for is in a quote for services, and this goes for any of the vendors that are being contemplated to be hired, is look at the terms of the contract, that there's no hidden fees. Like I argue a lot about the fact that, you got somebody that'll do a wedding, I'll do your wedding videography, blah, 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 and I'll travel halfway across the country. But what's the hidden fee for travel? Or, you want me to film you getting ready too? Well, that's in another charge. So,
another camera is an
and then,
charge.
and no offense to the other videographers, we do not charge for extra cameras. That's one of the things.
That is so rare.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We have a trailer with all the equipment in it. Our cameras are already with us. It only takes me 6-8 minutes to set up one of the cameras.
So you use the appropriate amount that someone would need at their wedding, and with 40 years of experience behind you, the appropriate amount of cameras, and that's huge. And you said on something that I have been kind of bitching about for almost a year now, and that
with DJs,
with DJs especially, and I know photographers have run into it a little bit too. It seems like this wedding season, like planning for 2024 and beyond, this is like the season of the upsell. Like every DJ is like, oh yeah, the music, sure, good, but you need these lights and you need these microphones and there's all these things that the DJ should have with them but now they're charging.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to use our microphone, it's another $150. If you want us to actually turn both speakers on, it's $500. You know, it's all these stupid things, and it's the same thing like what you just said. You know, you've got the cameras. You're not charging extra for the cameras. You're videographers. It's in the damn title. So yes, you've got them. Why would you charge extra for them? Yes.
And it helps to have the fact that two of our main cameras and our movie cameras have remote control.
Yeah.
I don't have to all of a sudden bring in extra people
Right.
to run those cameras because we have a joystick and can do whatever she wants. She has 10 presets that she can set in advance that she can hit a button and that camera will just go. Whoop.
I seriously should have asked you guys in advance for some footage of your control center because next wedding show, I want to sit where Thomas sits. I want to drive the cameras.
It's a lot of fun.
I know.
Yeah,
It really is. I mean, I make jokes about it, and I say, I just stand behind the curtain and I push the buttons.
Yeah.
That's all I do.
I want to drive the cameras. I want to play.
She is the Oz behind the curtain back there, and we have changed it a little bit. What you saw up at the Stress Free show, we didn't have it all put together. For one, we were running out of time, but we have actually a black sheet that goes all the way up where you can't see her sit back there. It goes up right underneath our TV monitor we have, which that has become a fan favorite.
That was another thing I was going to ask him. Yeah, you've got a forward-facing monitor that people can see, like even if it's not what's going to be on the final project, as Tom switches between cameras, there is a monitor that couples can add that just shows whatever she sees through the different cameras, and that can be running throughout the reception kind of throughout the night, right?
Yes.
Well,
that's cool by itself.
A lot of people watch themselves dance up on
Right,
it.
exactly.
Well, the funny thing is, the bride of the wedding we did here in January, we were talking about that when we were working out the contract details, and she said, "Yeah, I don't care about that. Yeah, people will watch it." Okay, well, I've got her on video with her dad dancing, and they're staring at it, pointing at it, going, "Look at us!" And I told her after their father-daughter dance, I said, "I busted you. You told me you weren't going to look at that." And she goes, "That is so cool, though." And people were watching it, and
her dad was like, "Look, I'm a star. I'm a star."
Yeah.
You can read his lips.
We added that kind of I did it as a side joke that, I was like, you know what, let's get a monitor and put it up here and let people see what you're actually doing. Yeah. Because what it also did was it kept people from walking around behind watching what she did.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of people did that too.
So it was worth it. Now I know that, Sean, you would run back there.
Oh, in a hot second. So March 26th at the Elk Show, they're going to be with us. Probably won't have the full setup because it's not as big of a space as like what we had at Sullivan Brothers, but still really cool tech. So other just big questions. And you've answered this question very well indirectly just throughout the course of our conversation. But I want to hear the specific why. Why are you doing this? You guys, like you said, you're semi-retired. Life is good. Why are you doing this?
Well, it does come down to, we really enjoy working with the couples. And, part of it is we love the reactions we get from couples when they get to see the final films. Mm-hmm. Getting that email, it says how happy they are and wanting to thank us for capturing those special, moments. That's a great feeling to us, especially when it comes down to a couple of them we've had where they had issues getting a videographer to commit, or something happened and a videographer had to walk, which is unfortunate if a vendor has to walk late in the game. Mm-hmm. But to be able to make their day and getting an email or a review on Google or our website, which you've seen some of the ones we've recently got, mm-hmm. That feeling actually is priceless.
Right.
And just to know, thank you, you made my day. I cried when I watched it. It's not my goal to make some woman cry, and I do that just by talking to her. But, the thing is, but that is a feeling we both get, because I know we got one email and she goes, "Did you read this email?" No, is it good? Oh, yeah. She said she cried when she watched it. She's so happy. Thank you. Yes, that's a score.
Right. Right.
That's
Well,
winning the Super Bowl.
knowing that you've impacted that couple's day for the rest of their days. You know,
Yep.
that your moment that you told their story, and you told it
Yep.
the way that bride and that couple got to see and experience and now gets to relive. I mean, you know, maybe they only watch it on their anniversary once a year, but you think of all of the anniversaries and all of those years. And
Yeah.
then you think of their kids and they watch that. Like one of the things that my mom did with the memory box is there's video from way before any of us kids were born, like before my parents were even married. I don't think we've even gotten, I don't know if they had any video for their wedding. But there's videos of, you know, my mom growing up, like in her teenage years. And that's stuff that, you know, you don't see. So capturing that kind of stuff and knowing for future generations, being able to watch that, I think is amazing.
I think it's so cool.
It is.
Well,
Yeah.
and one thing, you know, keep in mind, you know, didn't mean to interrupt you there,
No, you're
but,
fine.
you know, part of the getting into this, and we had mentioned this a little bit before we started this, was going to her niece's wedding in 2019, and watching how the video was done and how it was delivered to them, was part of the reason why we chose to get hooked up with Vimeo. That way I can put your 1080p HD widescreen, high definition, great sounding video on a platform that you can download in the same actual setting. So you're not, but her niece, unfortunately, was given I don't know, it was like 4 minutes, 5 minutes long video that didn't capture the story, wasn't sequenced well. And the only way they could see this video was to watch it on YouTube, but you couldn't download it, and it was not in 1080. It was in whatever the next setting down is. You couldn't download it.
Yeah.
And they did not send her
And they
a
paid
drive
over,
or a thumb drive or anything.
no thumb drive, no raw, no nothing.
So only way she
And
can
I
see
think
it.
the video cost them for that one camera was about a couple $100 under one of our highest prices.
That's terrible. And, yeah,
And it's, we,
It broke
granted,
my heart for her.
yeah.
right, but that's kind of what I mean. Think of that. That's kind of the catalyst that got you into it, realizing that, you know,
Exactly.
couples deserve so much more, and you can do so much
Yeah.
better. And you were able to apply your years of experience into that to help them make the perfect day. So, speaking of kind of the perfect day, what is? And I'm going to give you both the opportunity to answer this because I think I'm going to get two different answers. What's your favorite moment at a wedding?
Ladies first.
Ladies first. What's your favorite moment?
Oh, I would at the wedding itself.
Well, just overall throughout the whole day, you know, from ceremony through reception. What's your favorite moment?
My favorite moment is seeing the couple as they are united, kind of.
So-
One of them, when they turned around and the officiant announced them, they put their hands up and started walking off.
Sure.
And there was another one that they just seeing the smile and the happiness on their faces is just priceless to me.
That genuine moment of just pure joy, that just automatic
Exactly.
celebration. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Love it. John?
My top favorite part of it is actually when the couple makes their grand entrance.
Yeah.
And I would tell you why. You can see that 90% of the stress is gone.
So true.
And
Yep.
they are happy, they're dancing, they're having a good time. And it's almost like all that weight's gone.
Right.
And that is actually, to me, is one of the probably most unique moments in the wedding, because here they are being introduced for the first time, and you can see that they're not stressed anymore. You know,
They can finally do that. You know,
They can take that
hard part,
deep
breath.
the hard part's done. Yeah. You know what's
Yeah.
funny that you mentioned that, though, that you can see in the couple that's their, you know, least stressful moment of their day. If you ask almost any DJ. What's the most stressful moment of a wedding?
Announcing the name.
The grand entrance. The couple's least stressful moment is usually the DJ's most stressful moment, because you're thinking in your mind, do not screw up their names. Do not screw up their names. Scene Morrissey. Oh. You know,
Never happened to me, but
It does to me all the time.
right? Exactly. That's a very unique name. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this has been awesome. I don't want to keep everybody. You know, if you watched so far, thank you so much for watching. This has been a great conversation, and like I said, we're gonna have you back, because we're gonna do a full tech talk show where you guys like set
Absolutely.
up and walk through your equipment. I think we'd have so much fun just talking through all that. But one other question here before we kind of wrap things up. Question I ask everybody. There's a couple that has seen your work. They know who you are. They're probably dedicated followers of this show. They're living on every moment, living and breathing every second of this episode, writing down notes. And then, you know, they really, really want to hire you. And then they find out that on the day of their wedding, you're booked up. You can't help them. What do you tell them to look for in another videographer? What should they look for?
The number one thing, it goes back to reading the fine print. Look at the portfolio, somebody you're comfortable with. We may be able to give them suggestions of people that we've worked with or people that we trust. But the main thing is to ask questions. Continue to ask questions of whoever you're choosing.
And make sure that the videographer is listening to you, or the vendor in general
Right.
Yeah.
is listening to you and what you want, because it is your day.
100%.
You don't want, nobody wants to have the vendor, you say, well, we want to do this cinematic video, and we'd really like to have a really good tight shot during the ceremony of mom and dad of both couples and all that. Well, as a videographer, I think we should do it this way.
Right. Right.
That's the wrong answer.
Right.
That is not what we do, because here's the thing. We have multiple cameras, and make sure your vendor who you're hiring that's a videographer has multiple cameras.
Right. Not
and
just
to
the
give
new
you
iPhone 14? Are you sure?
Yeah, absolutely. And probably not an Amazon $110 camera.
Oh,
For the record,
yeah,
they were
Sean.
$116.
but you
Yep,
got free
with
delivery.
Iowa sales,
And
with
we got
Iowa
free
sales tax.
delivery. So come on. They're fancy. Hey, if you want to learn more about JTR Practical Solutions, you, of course, go to ourstressfreewedding.com. All you need to do is go to Your Wedding Professionals, go to the search bar right near the top, just scroll down a little bit, and type in JTR, and look what pops up right there. It's everything about them. We've got some pictures in there. We've got stills in there. We've got their different packages, and if you scroll, okay, here's a chance to see some of their hardware. Look at just some of the stuff on here. Oh my gosh, they've got so many cool toys. I love it. They've got all their pricing on there, so you kind of know what you're getting into, which is incredible. And we've got some videos, so you can see some of the video samples that they have beside just the one that we had running, so you have an opportunity to see who they are, what they do, how they do things. You would be hard pressed in planning your wedding in finding a more genuine, wonderful couple than Tomma John, because they are just great people, and I've known them long enough, and we have communicated enough to know that everything that we have talked about during this time, they're not just saying because it's a sales pitch. They're not just saying, we're saying nice things, please hire us. Really, they do this for the love of the game. I mean, like, people like myself and like Andrew, and 99% of us in the wedding business do this because we got to make a living. JTR Productions get to do this because they love doing it. They love just being part of the wedding and being part of your day. And I think that's awesome. I love that. You guys, thank you so much for being on the show. It has been an absolute pleasure. Anything else that you'd like to add? Did we miss anything? You want to compliment me on my haircut today? Is there anything that comes to mind?
I was going to, before you got self-serving there, I
Me?
was going to, I was going to congratulate you on being successful at these podcasts. What are we, number 29 or whatever?
28, yeah.
29, 28, whatever.
29. No, you're right. Yeah, 29.
29.
Mm-hmm.
See, I was right.
Hardcore fan right there.
Yeah.
Right, yep.
Yeah. Actually, I think you had it in a document you sent me to. But being honest, I have a cheat sheet, so as you do. So, but no, congratulations on making this work, and the Our Stress Free Wedding show we did in November was great. We'll, like you said, in March we'll bring what we can equipment wise, and it won't be the full setup due to the nature of the size of the place, but we will bring, as we call it, the machine, so you can play with it.
Oh, I'm serious.
And Sean,
what?
It's very expensive, and anything's a smoke machine if you operate it wrong enough.
I may need to get a release signed by him with
I'm a trained professional. I know
Trained
videos.
at what?
I push buttons.
Okay, we'll make sure he just gets the push button and you can't touch anything else.
It's like what you give a 3-year-old that's not actually plugged in. Look, Sean, you're doing it. Yeah, push the button.
And as you're pushing the button, she'll be behind you hitting the right one, make you think you did it.
So March 26th at the Waterloo Elks Club. You can find out more information. Of course, go to ourstressfreewedding.com. Go to the wedding show page. You can find all the details there. JTR Practical Solutions will be there. Of course, we'll be there. We'll be talking live on the microphone the entire time. Heck, we can even say we're broadcasting live if they stream it. So,
absolutely,
we might get fancy. Let's see where that takes us. You guys have been absolutely awesome. Andrew, did we miss anything? Did anything
I don't
you
think
want to add?
so.
I think this is great. What should people do, Andrew, if they like the show? I'm not going to push the button. Okay, what should they do?
Hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications. The bell's at the top. Ding.
Nice.
You have a ding?
I think I do. There's got to be.
I just enabled you. I'm sorry.
There's got to be. Hold on. Now this show's going to go on a little bit longer because I got to find the ding button. Wait. That is definitely not the ding button. That's the shotgun button. That's not the ding button either, but I like that one. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Like Andrew said, please like and subscribe. Spread the word. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. And as always, you have a stress-free day.